So I'm going to go over 5 issues I had this winter living in my tiny house, which is off-grid in Ontario. The house is about 400 square feet or so. There's this main living area that I'm in right now. It's got a small kitchen and a loft bedroom above me, and obviously TV on the other side here. It's the warmest part of the house. It's comfy, cozy. It's also the most finished of everything. The front room, which I just closed off, well, I built really late fall. It's cold. It wasn't finished. It was more or less just a coat room, mud room for me this winter. I'm going to work on getting it set up better here over the next few weeks so it can be just another lounging area because there's a nice big window there. It'll be nice for the summer with the window open and screens in, and just a bigger couch if I actually want to have people over. There's a big bathroom. It's actually the biggest room in the place. It's 12 by 12. I've got a washer dryer in there which aren't hooked up, a full shower, a toilet, obviously, vanity, and a whole lot of storage space. So that's the general overview of my place. So let's go into this. Challenge number 1, the lack of solar power from November through January. January, I think, was the grayest month we had on record for 30 years. It sucked. So I was running the generator every single day. I think I was going through about $80 to $100 in fuel a week. So I mean, that adds up. It still wasn't crazy, but it adds up, and it was a pain. The cold nights I'd have to bring a generator in, so it didn't, well, I didn't have to, but it made starting up the next morning a heck of a lot easier. So if it was minus 20, minus 25, I would bring that in. And then bring it out, plug it back in, and get everything going in the morning, run it for 4 or 5 hours, get the batteries charged up. Then I would typically start it up again for another hour or 2 in the evening because it's dark at 5 o'clock and I'm inside using lights and cooking dinner, and that draws down. Number 2, freezing water in multiple areas of the house. So the way the water's set up here is I have a 600-gallon tank in a separate little room that's beside the bathroom. It's fully insulated and closed in, and then there's a 1/2-inch PEX line that goes from there into a small pressure tank in my bathroom. There's a small gap, I don't know about that big, between the 2 rooms, and it is insulated, but it would still freeze when it got to about minus 20. I had heat line around the PEX line, but that really didn't help because I couldn't get it in that one little spot. So after dealing with it being frozen over and over and over and having to get the heat gun out and standing there trying to aim it through this little hole and not melt the plastic and all that fun stuff, I found a product from a local company, Heatline. They have a heat cable that goes inside the 1/2-inch PEX. So I bought that. It was expensive. I think it was $700. But on the cold nights, then I just plug it in. It's thermostatically controlled, and if it gets cold, it automatically turns on, heats that section, and only that section. So I haven't had a problem with freezing there anymore. So I always had at least water in the bathroom. Now the second part of that is between the bathroom and the kitchen, there's another little gap between the 2 buildings, and it's really, really hard to get at. I don't know how I'm going to insulate in there, but when it was minus 25 or colder, those 2 lines coming into the house would freeze. So I would have to get underneath the house and shoot up between the 2 buildings with a heat gun. I think it went up about 3 feet to where they would thaw. So it's going to be tricky, but I will get that insulated. If I have to drill holes through the wall just to get some big spray foam in there or something, we're not going to deal with that again. Number 3, the house is on piers. I did not have enough time to close everything in at the end of, or the beginning of winter. And and all I did was I put up a couple of tarps around it to try to stop some of the wind from coming underneath, and it really didn't help at all. So under the bathroom, the trap under the shower would freeze. So I'd have to go plug in a heat line half hour before I wanted to have a shower if it was like -10 or colder, and half hour later I could have a shower. Kind of a nuisance. Once I get it all closed in this year, it shouldn't be a problem next year. As long as I can get everything closed in, it should stay warm enough under that house for things not to freeze. So that'll be easily solved. Number 4. I bought 2 Martin direct vent heaters. The one in the main house has been fantastic. Absolutely great. I've had no issues with it since the day it was installed. Then got another one to put in the bathroom. It worked great for a week, and then no heat. Sorry, about 10 days. Wouldn't start again. Called a gas guy. He came over, and it's now January. He came over, looked at it, pulled it all apart, and it was absolutely filthy inside. So full of soot and just creosote, just caked. So he cleaned it all out. Everything was installed correctly, pressure tested everything fine, and got it going again. Literally exactly 10 days later again, same problem. I've been going back and forth with the company I bought the unit from, and they've been dealing with Martin directly, and I've had nothing but a nightmare of a problem trying to get this thing replaced. It's now the middle of March. So I haven't had it working all winter. It's been a royal pain. I just want it fixed or a new one. And Martin said that I had to have a gas person come out and look at it. I did. Then that wasn't enough, so now they want me to have a gas person out again and write something down. Well, why didn't they ask for that in the first place? So now I have to pay to have a gas person come out twice, which is BS. I just want a working unit. The guy said it's installed fine. I just want some heat in the bathroom. That brings us to number 5. Chinese diesel heaters. If you don't know what they are, check them out. They're very cheap heat. I had 2 of them go down on me. I bought one originally just because this stupid Martin heater, direct vent heater, wasn't working and I needed heat in the bathroom. So I installed the diesel heater in the front room and vented it out through a window. It was working great. On the cold days, it still was cold, but it worked. I went through a fair bit of diesel through the week, probably a jerry can and a half. So I mean that it's probably $50 in diesel a week. But I had 2 of them break on me. So I'm on the 3rd one now. Right towards the end of the winter, I also installed one in the water tank room, so on the cold days I could turn that on for 6 or 8 hours just to make sure that my water tank didn't freeze solid. But that one also died on me right towards the end of the winter, and I was like, oh boy, I really hope we can get through. We had about 4 or 5 days of cold weather. I think it was -30 a couple of nights. I kept it closed in tight. I didn't open it, and my water tank didn't freeze at all. I was so happy. So it survived the cold week. I didn't ice up the tank. I did keep it full, just so the thermal mass would be harder to freeze. But I'll probably have to order another 1 or 2 for next year, just to have them, in case they apparently break pretty easily. At least they're cheap. So next year, what am I going to do differently? I'd love to have a wood stove. I have no idea where I'm going to put it. I'd love to have heat in the bathroom with this direct vent heater. The wood stove would also counteract everything. We'll get the house fully closed in, and that should really cover everything, and I should have a heck of a lot nicer winter next year. So those are the 5 little issues that I ran into, and hope that helps some of you out that are looking at living in a tiny house or off grid or all that stuff.